And we're not gonna have much time for an intro here because we're starting this video right off the bat with a battle against Saturn, who's starting out with his Golbat. Come on, I killed a Crobat last time. You expect me to struggle against that? Seriously, the only point of that battle is if Cyrus really bruised and battered you and you can't really take another battle, this is meant for that. Otherwise, it's piss easy. His levels aren't even as high as Cyrus. And look at that! Another unevolved Bronzor. And this trend, sadly, isn't over yet. We're gonna see more of these guys in boss fights. Yeah, well, they're easier for me to kill, but is it too hard to ask to have a challenge in boss battles at this point of the game? I know I'm over-leveled, but unevolved Bronzors? At least evolve them! Jesus Christ! Anyway, Toxic Rogue is the head honcho of Saturn's team as usual, so Togekiss's Air Slash is going to be the best way to take it down. And it's not going to live through that, is it? Toxic Rogue is known for its stellar defenses or anything. Yep, one-hit KO. And that was a boss battle, folks. They deserve to lose. I know I've said it a million times already, but this guy here is the second in command of Team Galactic, and he can't do any better than that. God, and he moves aside. He could have said, you know what, you beat me in a Pokemon battle, but I'm still not moving from that spot. Moron. Anyway, we hear more of Charon thinking to himself out loud. Who knows if it will work? No, it's not. I'm going to tell you right now. Another option needs to be considered, one befitting the genius of Charon, blah, 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 and one... It may imply that he's already begun planning the takeover of Team Galactic after Cyrus fails. Anyway, the Pixies are gone, and now Saturn tells us exactly why he needed them in the first place. Okay, yeah, the red chain is needed to pretty much, it's pretty much the kryptonite for Dialga and Palkia. He basically uses it to control them, whatever, and, okay, Charon says the same thing, but, yeah, in Diamond and Pearl there was only one red chain, but since Cyrus is trying to control both Dialga and Palkia in this game, they actually made two red chains. One out of the Pixies, and another one replicated through technological means. Cyrus's words, not mine. Okay, the green warp panel returns you to the ground floor. Well, if they're gonna have to split their building in two parts like that, they might as well have a minor bit of convenience like that. Anyway, now that this is done, our next destination is going to be Mount Coronet. So we're going to head to Hearthome to heal first. And by the way, just to mention that thanks for the comments, folks. I've had a few people tell me that you can actually use the beds to heal inside the Galactic HQ, but I've heard conflicting versions as to how you actually go to sleep in there. Isn't it just enough that you're in the bed and you press A? No, you gotta face a certain direction too on top of that? What the hell? Anyway, I'm complaining for nothing because what we're about to take on is worth complaining a bit as well because Mount Coronet is one complex dungeon. And on that note, I would like to thank Psypokes for actually having a map of that place. Cerebi doesn't have one, Bulbagarden doesn't have one. So, it's up to Psypokes to provide me with a map of the place. I'm just going to surf over there, if only to bypass those two Rock Smash rocks. It's a bit faster that way. But, yeah, this place is freaking huge. It's got a lot of random battles and a few galactic grunts guarding the path to the Sphere Pillar, which is at the summit of Mount Coronet. And so, I guess, here begins the climb. We got nothing clever to say, really. Here I forgot an item that I could have picked up during my surf exploration tour, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm going to grab it right now. And anyway, one thing that I want to mention about Mount Coronet is, you remember how I ranted earlier about having unevolved Bronzors in boss battles? Well, here there are tons and tons of wild Bronzongs. Now, those are sort of a pain to deal with, because Steel Psychic has a lot of resistances, that's no secret to anyone. Only 2 weaknesses, ground and fire. Now, Bronzong's abilities are designed specifically towards canceling those weaknesses out. It's got Levitate, which makes it immune to ground moves, and Heatproof, which makes fire moves only deal neutral damage, even though it still says super effective on the screen. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let Vaporeon fight in this room a little more. Then when I'm gonna get started on the next room, I am going to leave it to Togekiss, because, well, I guess I could freeball it and try to have Torterra Earthquake every Bronzong I encounter, and let me tell you, there are a lot of freaking Bronzongs in this place. But the thing is that if it's got Levitate, it's gonna do no damage whatsoever, and I'm gonna have to switch to something else, Togekiss obviously, and use Flamethrower instead. Whereas if I use Togekiss in the front, at least Flamethrower is gonna deal decent damage to those heat-proof Bronzongs. I don't know if it's going to kill them. Somehow I doubt it, because those Bronzongs have tons of defenses. But otherwise, yeah, at least I'm going to be doing some damage, and at worst, it's going to be a 2-hit KO, because I can't imagine heat-proof Bronzongs being a 3-hit KO from Flamethrower. Now, I know there are other species besides Bronzong in this mountain, but I think between Air Slash, Flamethrower, and Aura Sphere, I'm going to have enough type coverage to manage getting up the mountain without getting completely massacred. But, okay, enough about that. Oh, and we're going to reach the other room pretty much right away, unless there's a random battle in the way, so if I can get there, no. But anyway, after this battle, I'm going to switch to Togekiss, and you know, the other day I was searching for Smogon's page for Black and White on one of the new Pokemon. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Haxorus. But and yes, by the way, I'm using Google instead of Smogon's own search option, because it's actually simpler that way, I think. And okay, Togekiss is right there going in the lead, so let's have our fingers crossed that it can deal with the heat-proof Bronzongs just fine. But yeah, as I was saying, there was a search result from Google when I searched that. That was a GameFAQs thread. It had nothing to do with Haxorus, oddly enough. It was a thread about, basically, oh my god, Smogon is banning Reuniclus! And, well, where do I begin? I think with the fact that it's an outright lie, because Reuniclus has never been banned so far. It has merely been nominated for round 2 of the suspect test, but ultimately it didn't have a majority, so Reuniclus is not banned. It's not on the bubble either. So, yeah, basically, this is a load of bullshit right off the bat. And by the way, that thread had been deleted, so I don't know what was inside it, but this is GameFAQs we're talking about. There was no doubt a lot of bitching and moaning about how Reuniclus sucks, I can beat it with my Charizard, and stuff like that. But that probably comes from people who have no idea how good Reuniclus actually is. Because, trust me, you haven't seen the true potential of any Pokemon until you've seen it in the hands of a top player. But anyway, I would have loved to see what was being said inside that thread, because it ought to be good for a chuckle or two. Or maybe not, because sometimes an overload of stupidity can just make me angry instead of amused. I should know. I'm an LPer on YouTube, and I see all kinds of comments that are just, you know, what the hell. In the last video, someone tried to correct my English in terms of pronunciation, but not only was he the one to have the pronunciation wrong, but he also got the spelling wrong on top of that. And yes, I double-checked, I triple-checked, and I was right in terms of both spelling and pronunciation. But enough about that. I was talking about Reuniclus, and right now they're doing stage 3 of the suspect test, the inaugural suspect test for Generation 5, and Ryu Nicholas is one of the 3 mons that are... Oh god, I missed with air slash. Well, that's the problem when you use a move with 95 accuracy. You're bound to miss every now and then. But I guess I should consider myself thankful that I'm not using Hurricane and its crappy 70 accuracy. That would be a pain to deal with. But yeah, Ryu Nicholas, Latios, and also Thunderous are those guys that are having the most attention right now in terms of possibly getting banned somewhere down the road. But other than that, and even factoring those 3 in fact, a lot of people are thinking those are just to Generation 5 what Scizor was to the second half of Generation 4, meaning that it's quite possible there won't be any more bans, and I'm not sure if I understand this right, but if nothing gets a majority this round, then the suspect test is going to be over, and the metagame is going to be deemed balanced and stable, which is actually something that, well, I don't know whether to rejoice or be angry that the metagame has become stable and balanced so quickly, as we're seeing a Bronzong here. Let's see. How much damage is Flamethrower going to do? Because, well, I don't know which ability it has, and without Trace, I am not going to have any clue about it. And yeah, it's a one-hit KO. Probably had Levitate, because I'm not sure I'm able to take down heat-proof ones in one hit, even with a massive level advantage I have. But yeah, the thing about this metagame being stable right now is because it mostly came about as a result of that combo ban that I complained about so much. Now, don't get me wrong, I still hate that combo ban because of all the ethical questions that it brings to the forefront, but at the same time, it's really doing its job much better than even its proponents could have possibly imagined. Because right now we're looking at something that's potentially stable, whereas had we gone the easy way and banned Politoed, then we might have had to deal with a cascade of bans. Like, for example, after Politoed goes, then it's Landorus and Excadrill, then Ninetales, then Latios and Ryu Nicholas, and so on and so forth. Whereas right now, we're having a stable metagame with a ban list that's actually much shorter than in Generation 4. Among the Pokemon that were demoted from Uber to overused and are still overused right now, we've got Mew, we've got Wobbuffet, Salamence, Latias, Latios, Emerald Deoxys, Leaf Green Deoxys, Garchomp, and I think that's it. While the only 2 that were added were Reshiram and Zekrom so far. So yeah, it's actually a pretty neat short ban list, and oh god, this guy here has heat proof, and just look at how much HP it's got left. I have a 20 level advantage, and with basically a neutral hit, I still can't take down that thing in one hit. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that I'm not sure whether I should be happy that we got a stable metagame so quickly, or sad because it came because of a rule that I don't really agree with because of those ethical questions I mentioned earlier. And here we got Looker, who's making, I think, his second to last appearance in this game. And yeah, right now I think he's realizing that he's not really up to the task. And is it just me, or did he... Huh? Wait, what? I don't remember that... Oh, okay, he was just teasing me, because I definitely remembered that you don't ever fight him in this game. So, as I was about to say, I think he did away with his weird manners of speech in this piece of dialogue here, because he's not saying the Team Galactic anymore. He's actually speaking actual English in this one, and the Black Flute. Well, thank you, it's like the worst one of them all. Either way, you heard the man, it's all up to me now.